We've been living on cruise ships full-time for over 3 years. I thought coming back to land for a few months would feel normal. It doesn't, and I will tell you exactly why. Hi everyone, my name is Tori from KirkToriStory, and if you're new here, back in late 2022, Kirk and I sold our house in Canada and have been living on cruise ships ever since. So it's been well over 3 years, probably closer to 3.5 by now. Kirk and I disembarked our 73rd cruise ship in May, not because we wanted to stop, but because my mom passed away, and as the executrix of her estate, there are things that I have to be physically present for, like selling her house, sorting her belongings, things I simply can't do from a cabin at sea. So for the next few months, Kirk and I are back on land, living in her house in a city that we're really not that familiar with. And the contrast to the life that we've built on ships, well, it really is something. So today I want to walk through 8 specific things that I've noticed since stepping off the ship. Some of them are practical, some of them may be surprising, and the last one is the one that most people watching this need to see because it's where the math makes everything clear. So please stick with me. Point number 1, the car. We needed a rental to get from Quebec to Ontario just to pull our truck out of storage. Simple enough, right? Except when you start looking at the price of the rental car and then filling the tank, gas, rentals, car insurance, it's not that I forgot these things existed. It's that when you're living on a cruise ship full time, you simply don't have these extra costs. There's no fuel surcharge for walking and dinner. But here's on the flip side, on a ship, unless you're in port for a day, you're not going anywhere. There's no jumping in a car and just driving. So Kirk and I today actually took a long drive to visit my mom at her gravesite, and I realized that I generally miss having a nice long drive. The freedom to just go with no itinerary, no port schedule, just being on the road and turning when you feel like turning. Point number 2. Food is a full-time job on land. And I know that sounds simple. On a ship, if I'm hungry, I walk somewhere and eat. That's the entire process. There's no planning, no grocery list, no 45-minute shopping, no putting things away, no cooking, and no doing all of that, what simultaneously sorting through an estate, making YouTube videos, responding to travel booking clients, and just trying to hold it all together. Here at my mom's house, now I have to shop, I have to plan, I have to cook, in a kitchen that's not mine, in a city that I'm not really from. And I want to be clear, I'm not complaining, I'm just noting that it takes a surprising amount of time, way more than I remembered. When you've been living on a cruise ship full time, the invisible labor of feeding yourself just disappears. And you don't notice it until it comes back. If this honest look at full-time cruise life is something that you want more of, please don't forget to subscribe. Kirk and I have been doing this since late 2022, and we don't just show you the highlight reel. We show you the real version of living on ships. All right, let's get back to point number 3. Time collapses on land. On a ship, days have a different texture. There is a sea day rhythm, morning coffee, the ocean, dinner at your pace, a show at 8 o'clock. Time feels like it belongs to you. On land, well, so far, I blink and it's 9 o'clock at night, and I'm honestly not even sure what I did with the last 12 hours. But the list is just still as long as it was in the morning. And part of that is probably the circumstances. Managing an estate is genuinely a lot. But even beyond that, I notice how quickly a to-do list can swallow a whole day. On a ship, your time is yours in a way that it simply isn't when you're back inside a regular life. Now, point number 4, the storage unit. Now this one sounds a little bit crazy. We went to our storage unit and stood in front of it all of our stuff, packed into a unit, stacked into piles, and it felt like I was looking at a completely different version of our lives. like artifacts from people we used to be. And now as I'm going through my mom's belongings, her whole life condensed into furniture and boxes, I'll be adding her things into that same unit. All of this stuff accumulated over decades. And I'm standing there thinking about our cabin. We have 3 suitcases, and that's what we live from. 3 suitcases, and the whole entire world is open to us. There's something almost startling about how free that feels, how uncomplicated. The ship hopping life that people think sound extreme, well, from where I'm standing right now, it feels like the simplest version of living I've ever had. Point number 5. Number 5 is one I didn't expect to feel this clearly. I'm at my mom's house, like I said, in a city that I'm not even from. My actual stuff is 5 hours away in a storage unit, and Kirk and I are still living out of suitcases in a bedroom. And our real life, the ship life, is paused somewhere out there on the water waiting for us. I feel like a guest, not just in this house, but like a guest in this version of reality. On a ship, it doesn't matter which one, like which cabin, which ocean. I feel at home because home for us is not a fixed address. It's a way of moving through the world. Here, I spread out in so many different directions at once, and it's kind of a strange feeling that I didn't expect to feel this strongly. Point number 6. It's not all hard. There are things that land gives you that ships can't. So I've had time to call some of my friends that I haven't properly spoken to in years. I've actually made some plans. I sat across a table from people that I care about, and Kirk and I drove out to visit my mom at the cemetery, and I'm so glad that I could be here to do that. I walked into the storage unit and saw my instruments. I was a music teacher before all of this, and then I realized I haven't consistently sat down and played in years. And there's also something I didn't see coming. Walking through the process of selling my mom's house has reminded me how much I used to love real estate. I was also a real estate broker, and the puzzle of it, the negotiation and the pace, I miss that too. Land gives you space to notice things like that. On a cruise ship, I can't do any of that. I can't just go up and start playing the piano. I can't sit there and start selling real estate from a cabin in the middle of the ocean. And here's the thing, point number 8 is the one I keep coming back to. It's the one people always ask about. And once you see the actual numbers side by side, it's hard to unsee. So please keep watching for that. Point number 7, ship hopping is not what people think. I want to address this because people are asking me this all of the time. Why not just stay on one ship? And here's why. Ship hopping means every few weeks we are somewhere completely different. Different ship, different cabin, different crew, different itinerary, different oceans sometimes. We're not locked into one room with one view or one route. When you hear living on a cruise ship full time, most people picture being stuck. The reality of the ship hopping method is the opposite. It's the most mobile, flexible, constantly changing lifestyle that I've ever lived. And coming back to land, to one house, one street, one city, I feel that contrast more than I ever have. One incredible trip flows into the next. This is not a sales pitch. That is what it feels like. Speaking of which, if you've never heard of repositioning cruises, I made a full video walking through exactly why they are great and showing you some of the best sailings in the entire industry at the moment. I'm putting the link in the description. If you want help booking any of those repositioning cruises, you can reach me directly. I will put my information in the description below as well. Now for point number 8, the math. This is the point that I cannot stop coming back to. I knew cruise life was cost effective. We've done the breakdown a few times on this channel before, but I did not fully feel how cost effective I was until we're back in a regular life, running regular expenses. Do you know how much groceries cost right now? We did a standard shop, and not even a big one, and I stared at that total a little longer than I should have. Gas. We've talked about gas. I don't even understand how it's affordable. Rent. Are you going out for dinner? Add that. You want to go out for drinks? Add that. Entertainment? A movie? An event? Anything? If you want to do all of that, It's all included on a cruise ship. A Broadway quality show at 8 o'clock, also included. Walking. We hit 10,000, sometimes 15,000 steps just by moving through the ship. There's no gym membership required. And if you've done your homework on repositioning cruises, or you're strategic about how you book, the per day cost can be jaw-dropping. We're not hacking some secret system. We've built something over years and then deployed it in a way that most people wouldn't even expect. Once you start thinking about your cruise fare as your rent, your grocery bill, and your entertainment budget combined, the math makes a whole lot more sense. And that's not me selling you a lifestyle. That is just plain arithmetic. Now, again, if this is the kind of real look at full-time cruise hopping, ship hopping that you want, please keep watching. Please subscribe. Please hit the notification. We're back out there soon, and we're going to keep documenting everything, the good days, the complicated ones, and the math that makes it all work. All right, fast version. Everything I just said in 60 seconds. Here we go. Number 1. Driving on land is expensive. Rental, gas, traffic, but long drives give you a freedom that the ship cannot give you. Call it a draw. Number 2, food on land is a full project. On a ship, you walk somewhere and eat. Number 3, time on land collapses. On a ship, it expands. Number 4, a storage unit for your whole life is overwhelming. 2 suitcases on a ship is freedom. Number 5, I feel like a guest on land. On a ship, wherever I am is home. Number 6, land gives you back your friends, your music, your roots, and things that matter. Don't ignore them. Number 7, ship hopping is not being stuck in one vessel. It's the most mobile lifestyle I know of. Number 8, the math. Groceries, rent, entertainment, it all adds up fast on land. On a ship, it's folded in. Run your numbers, and that's the honest version. May 2nd, we disembarked, and every single day has reminded me exactly why we made the decision of living on a cruise ship in the first place. I want to hear from you. What is the one thing about land life that you'd miss the most if you made the switch? Please put it in the comments right now, because I would love to hear your perspective, and I read absolutely everything. My name is Tori from KirkToriStory. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.